How's it going, dudes? Pigman here, and I'm bringing you a countdown of my top 10 games to date. We've got everything from FPS, RPGs, platforms, sports, you name it, I'll probably include it. Now the trouble with these types of lists is I'll probably change my mind about some of them as time goes on. Well, can't escape from that really, but we'll give it a go. This list will show you new games and old games, so this list doesn't compile of my favourite current games, but maybe I'll add this in another video in the future. Now, without further ado,
Number 10.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Released in 1989 by Konami. This side-scrolling game overtook Mario as my favourite platformer. The game lets you control any of your turtles, but I stuck with Donatello for most of it, given that you could use his long bow to your advantage in many situations. The plot was to retrieve the Life Transformer gun from Shredder. You could use this to restore Splinter back to his human form. Interesting fact, the PC port version of this game contains an impossible section where a player must climb over a low-hanging ceiling and can't avoid colliding with it and then falling into a sewer. However hard you tried, you had to use the cheat code to get past it. Crazy stuff. Despite this, it won Game of the Year 1989.
Number 9.
GoldenEye. Exclusively for the Nintendo 64. This was the game back in 1997. It's probably the first FPS game I ever played, and it definitely wasn't the last. Based off the movie of the same title, you could play as James Bond as he fights to prevent a criminal syndicate from using a satellite weapon that would cause a financial meltdown. The beauty of this game was in its multiplayer mode. If I had to count the amount of times my friends and I got together and went mental on 4-player mode, I'd need an extra 20,000 hands to count on. Trust me, I'm not fooling. Just remember, if you pick Odd Job, you're a goddamn cheater and you know it.
Number 8.
Championship Manager 97-98, and only 97-98. This game holds a special place in my heart. It was the last time I played with one of my friends from school and we hammered the absolute shit out of it. It was the only time I went 2-player. The tactic was, we'd take in turns to make our changes, play our matches, and while we were waiting for our turn we played on another football game on the PlayStation which filled in the time. Crazy, I know, but it worked for 9 whole seasons. It featured 9 playable nations and it was the first ever to include a data editor to update your teams and players. And when I say the name Ibrahima Bakayoko, you Chat Manager fans will know what I mean.
Number 7.
Pete Sampras Tennis on the Mega Drive. This beauty was released in 1994 and it was the first tennis I ever played. I have to admit, I played it last week. I used to be an absolute beast at this game. I was literally unbeatable. In fact, I think only my sister managed to beat me in every single game that I played on it. Even against the computer, I was a god. The game somehow managed to fit its clever controls, good graphics for the time, and a career mode in. It got me massively addicted and I still remember why.
Number 6.
Far Cry 3. Released in 2012. This game is one of the most exciting and interesting I've ever played. A first-person shooter based on a tropical island between the Indian and Pacific Oceans. You play the protagonist Jason Brody. He must save his friends from corrupt pirates and escape the island with your head intact. Now, it didn't have the best multiplayer mode, but the single-player mode more than makes up for it. The story is astounding and a bit rude too, thanks to Citra, not that I'm complaining.
Number 5.
Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. I'm not sure what else can be said about this game. You might find it top of some people's lists and I can understand why. This game has everything. I mean, I spent one day, literally one day in the casinos trying to double my money. The game featured homages to a number of real life events such as the rivalry between the Bloods and the Crips street gangs, the 1980s crack epidemic, the LAPD Rampart scandal and the 1992 LA riots. It is the #1 selling PlayStation 2 game of all time with 27 million copies sold. Holy God. Now that's a lot of cash.
Oh yeah, number 4.
Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3. Oh my god, this game. When I started trying to compete online with some of those MLG beasts, I didn't have a chance. Luckily for me, I was made redundant from my job shortly after and was given 3 months gardening leave with full pay. Now, what can I do with all this free time, you ask? I did the normal human things and then went to the gym and then played Modern Warfare 3. I went from 20-5 to hitting 60-3 consistently, and I couldn't get enough of it. This is the only game where I've gone into a match thinking, hell yeah, I got this, without a doubt in my mind. The variety of the maps, the guns, the upgrades, the perks, it was all just about perfect. Also, not to mention, the story and cult modes were simply amazing, and I longed to listen to Soap's voice again. I actually queued up for this one, and I probably would again.
Number 3.
Minecraft. What can I say? You dig, collect materials, create and harvest farms, hunt things, kill monsters and build stuff out of blocks. Now if someone told me how addictive the combination of the above would be, I wouldn't have believed them, but then I played it and found out that a game with initially really average graphics could conquer most. Minecraft is currently the best selling PC game to date, with over 70 million copies sold. Despite the game's apparently simple premise, the sheer amount of options, collectibles, materials and crafting choices you have is insane. This is one of those titles that I could start playing at 9 AM and 10 minutes later it's 9 PM. It's just so addictive. Plus you can also play with others, which creates a whole new block game. See what I did there? Some of the structures and contraptions people have created are incredible.
Number 2.
DayZ. By far this is the most intense and terrifying game I've ever played. You want zombies? Check. Guns? Check. Survival? Check. The urge to shoot yourself? Check. Despite the current build being in alpha stage and not without its many bugs, DayZ still managed to pull off an extraordinary feat by making you feel like you're actually screaming to survive. The most basic of instincts. I've been having a bit of a break while the developers work out some of the most annoying cracks in the game, but nonetheless, this title, played with either a bunch of friends or going it as a lone wolf, is a frightening yet beautiful experience. The landscapes are stunning. As I mentioned, there are some drawbacks. The current frame rate in larger cities is terrible, but this is due to be fixed soon, hopefully. Suffice it to say, Bohemia have created a pure winner, and it's here to stay.
And number 1.
World of Warcraft. This game had 4 years of my life. This is the most involving MMORPG I've ever played. I struggle to say that, and you probably realised. Set in the fantasy Warcraft universe, you make your name within the world of Azeroth approximately 4 years after the events of Warcraft 3 The Frozen Throne. It is the highest grossing video game of all time, having grossed over $10 billion as of July 2012. In 2014 it was announced that more than 100 million accounts had been created over the game's lifetime. From the minute I picked it up, I never looked back. As I was leveling up my first main, a mage called Kaladin if you're interested, I found it was such a steep learning curve but deeply enjoyable. I was quickly addicted, had several characters and switched my main to a Death Knight and absolutely killed it with my DPS. I honestly felt part of an awesome community and guild that helped me through all my new questions and problems that made me into a damage machine. Interesting fact, patch 1.7 saw the opening of Zul'Gurub, a 20-player raid dungeon. When engaging the final boss, players were hit by a debuff called Corrupted Blood, which would periodically sap their health. The disease was passed on to other players simply by being near infected players. Eventually it made its way into the outside world via warlock minions or hunter pets that caught the disease. Within hours, Corrupted Blood had completely infected major cities due to their high player concentrations. Low level players were killed in seconds. This problem was eventually fixed, but the situation so closely resembled the outbreak of real-world epidemics that scientists are looking at a way MMORPGs can model human behaviour during outbreaks. Whether it was bumming around the auction house, 4-hour raids, crazy PvP, scavenging for mats or just achievement hauling, I was hooked, and I still think about picking this game back up for the new expansion of Warlords of Draenor, and as a side note, I probably will. Levi Jenkins! Thank you for watching. This has been my own personal top 10 of current and historical games. Leave a like below and subscribe if you like it. See you later. Pigman out.